I agree. But I think it was like. You're gonna be there kind of far. Mark. Now he likes that stuff. He likes to
Make sure he's ready to.
Yes, I am.
Are you ready?
Okay.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Transportation Policy Committee meeting for the MPO. I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting today and those in attendance online. And at this time, if the call work
Sure will. Bullock County,
here.
yes, city of Charlestown. City of Jeffersontown.
Here.
City of Jeffersonville. City of New Albany. City of Shively. City of St. Matthews.
Shop is here.
Shively is-
City of Shively's here.
You're muted, Andy. Andy, I'm not hearing you.
Oh,
That's better.
that's better?
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Greg might have to stand up.
Yeah. Really strange.
Okay. All right, so let's see. I was trying to say hi to Brian, but Brian couldn't hear me. Brian, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now and I'm here.
All right, we got a copy. Thank you for being here. Floyd County. NDOT? I saw Tony on there.
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, Tony.
Good morning or afternoon.
Anybody from NDOT, central office? If so, Jefferson County League of Cities. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, central office. Cedro. Louisville Metro Government. Louisville Regional Airport Authority. Oldham County.
Here.
Hello, Jim.
Hello.
Park Snow. Hello, Kevin. You can hear us? Okay, he's waving. And then Tark.
Present.
I want to welcome Jeffrey Hoban back to the TPC mix. For those that knew Jeffrey from his previous tenure at TARC, a long time tenure at TARC, he's back in the mix. For those that didn't know, he's their, Jeffrey, correct me if I'm wrong, interim director of planning. Am I saying that correctly?
That's absolutely correct, Andy, and hopefully it will be short interim.
Well, we're blessed to have you join us as long as that, whether that's short or long, and we appreciate you being here. And then I think we see Bernie Bowling joining the room. St. Matthews. Bernie, thank you for joining us. And Deputy Mayor George is here. Thank you for joining us as well. Do we have any of our advisory members? I see Miss Tanya Hickton. Hi, Tanya.
Good morning or afternoon now.
And then KYTC District 5.
Come on, District 5.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you all very much for joining us, and welcome our new chairman to the gavel, to the seat.
Well, thank you so much, Andy. At this time, Greg, public comment period?
Yes, I do have one public comment that was submitted last week. This is referring to 3 different projects. One of them is for a $23 million add-on 1 lane to English Station Road that's kept ID 188. The second one is 31 million to add 1 lane to Kentucky 864, kept ID 1879, and 12 million to improve US 42 in Prospect, kept ID 230. It says given how these three projects have a stated goal of improving safety and reducing injury and crashes. I would like to see how they each align to the requirements set forth in KIPTA's KYTC's and Metro's complete streets policies. Based on their larger budget, it seems using 5% of the budget to support infrastructure for people using transit, walking, or biking would be beneficial to the safety of many road users and taxpayers. Thank you, Michael Schnarley, Streets for People, Board Officer, Highlands Douglas Neighborhood Association President. We did respond back to this, just so folks know. Brady Hill actually came up with, was able to craft some stuff for me to respond back to them. Essentially, all three of those projects, two of them, just to give you a little history, two of them are older and before our complete streets policy was passed, so they're kind of grandfathered in. The other one, reached some exemptions status, but all three also do have some stuff in there for bike and pedestrian and some complete streets policies in there. We also provided, this public comment with, numbers for how much we're spending on complete streets, in the region as well. And then also gave them links to KYTC's complete street policy as well as Metro's. But if anyone wants to respond to that beyond just us, that'd be fine. You can send those comments to me. They will be available on the website tomorrow.
Okay. Well, thank you, Greg. And also at this time, we need to approve the TPC January minutes. If you'll take a minute and review and approve it.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, like sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you. Greg, public involvement. report,
Yes.
Please, sir.
All right, go through the numbers for last month. In January, we'll take a look at our website analytics. Numbers up from our main page. Transportation, 216 visitors. A little bit of a drop for a tip page, but still good numbers at 142 visitors. And our NTP page also did see a drop, but at 52 visitors. Again, that's pretty average numbers for the month. Social media for January, 9 posts. Over 3,000 views. That's really good numbers, as well as the impressions and interactions over 2,200. Part of that, I think, was a carryover from our amendment public comment period. We had some carryover with that, with some paid advertising. X, 8 posts, 639 impressions. That is up based from last month, which is also good to see. And Instagram was down a little bit, but still really good average numbers for us. 613 impressions, 25 interactions. Social media, sorry, that's a bad slide. There we go. With no events or anything this month, I did want to highlight our our top posts from social media. Retirement of Tarks Aida Kopik saw the most for Facebook as well as X. Over 1,700 views for that, 1,600 views on X. That was really good. And then, like I said, our public comment amendments, that was our most popular one on Instagram. So
Jeffrey Ida drives ratings apparently.
exactly. That wraps up my report for this month. I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
Okay. Any questions, comments for Greg? Hearing none. Andy, air quality status update?
Yes, so Flannery O'Neill from Louisville Metro Air Pollution Control District is here to give us a brief, an important summary of kind of some of the things that are changing in terms of our region's air quality status, namely to the ground level ozone status. There's been some recent changes and some unique changes even. These are abnormal, I guess, but nonetheless, Flannery's here to give us a briefing.
Yes, thank you. So I'm Flannery O'Neill, Assistant Director at Air Pollution Control District. And before I get started, I just want to welcome Haley Thayer. She's just joined our team as our environmental coordinator and is going to be working on our mobile source modeling. So delighted to have her on board. So we're here to talk about ozone status. So we have been working on ozone attainment and attaining the national ambient air quality goal of 70 parts per billion. Currently we are in non-attainment, but in 2022, so this is a story that spans multiple years. In 2022, we at Air Pollution Control District for Jefferson County put in a request for redesignation because we had met that goal number of 70 parts per billion from 2019 to 2022. So in 2022, on September 6th, we put in an application or a request with the Environmental Protection Agency, Region 4 of the Environmental Protection Agency, which is the southeastern states, requesting that we be redesignated to attainment for ozone. In around the same time period, our counterparts in Indiana for Clark and Floyd, also using the same data, put in an application to also be redesignated as attainment. They put their application in earlier in February and were redesignated by their region, which is a separate region from ours. They were approved in July of 2022. Yeah, the Environmental Protection Agency initially went out for comment proposing to approve our request on April 14th of 2023. But unfortunately, a few weeks later, we started to experience the impacts of Canadian wildfires throughout our region. And if you all recall, you may recall in 2023, that summer, we had we were quite impacted by smoke from the wildfire from Canada, thousands of miles away. That unfortunately caused us to have some multiple days throughout the summer where we exceeded those ozone standards. And because we had those exceedance days, the EPA paused their proposed approval of our meeting that standard. And ultimately in January of 2025, they proposed withdrawing that approval, saying that because we violated those standards in the summer of 2023, we had not met the rule or the guidelines. So last year, we put together what is called an exceptional events demonstration, which is basically saying that the smoke and the impact from the Canadian wildfires is something that is outside of the purview of our region and the Metro Air Pollution Control District to control. We have the ability to work on local emissions, but this is something that came from outside of our region and outside of our control. So this is a tool that EPA allows us to do if something is happening that meets certain conditions, including wildfires. We can request that we remove these days' data from our data set. And so we put together a big proposal for that. And if the EPA concurs, then we will be allowed to remove the days that they agree upon from our data set. The EPA ultimately did concur with 6 of the 9 days that we submitted. And so those days have been removed from our data set, which essentially means that for 2023, we are also meeting that ozone standard of 70 parts per billion. However, we were still, they hadn't made a final decision. Yes, we meet attainment. No, do we not meet attainment? And on January 29th, 2026, EPA has now officially denied the request to redesignate the Louisville area for attainment. So again, they found that we preliminarily violated those standards in June 2023, and even with the approval of that exceptional event and pulling data out of our data set, because we also had exceedances in 24, we are not meeting the standard. The decision, in addition, they decided, and they have out for proposal now, a final approval of that exceptional event demonstration. So approving those 6 days to be removed from our data set. And they are approving or stating that we attained the moderate non-attainment standard by August 2024, which was another deadline that we were required to meet. So what is out for public comment right now until March 2nd is saying that we met the moderate non-attainment standard and approving that exceptional events demonstration. It is very confusing and complicated, and I am trying, hopefully this was simplified enough. So our next steps are that we are evaluating doing another one of those exceptional event demonstrations for 2024, because we also saw smoke from Canadian wildfires on several days for 2024. And so our plan is to submit another exceptional event demonstration to I hopefully remove a few days from that data set and bring our area into attainment for 2024. We're continuing to evaluate how that will impact design value trends for 2025. And a design value is basically it's a rolling average of 3 years. So even when we meet the ozone goals for 1 year, we're also looking at a rolling average, and that's where we continue to see some challenges. So the other update is that these actions do not impact conformity, and we'll be continuing to use the existing budgets that we've been working from.
That's what matters most to this group, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Well, it does, because that's what takes the time of an amendment process.
Yeah, exactly. So that is our quick update, and we will, this unrelated, but also important to this group is that we do have a request into the EPA for the removal of reformulated gas requirements. We put in that request last summer, and we are expecting a decision sometime this spring. So as soon as we have an update for you all, we will share that.
Good.
Any questions?
When was the deadline for the comments?
March 2nd.
March 2nd. At the TTCC meeting, we discussed that KIPTA staff, from our perspective, would offer up some comments, and I hope that's okay with this body, unless there's I doubt there's any objection, but Randy Simon on our staff knows this stuff inside and out. He's known it forever in terms of all the ins and outs of it, especially from the MPO perspective. So we'll be likely to be offering up some comments to the dockets, I guess.
All right. Thank you. Performance management plan, Aaron Monsalve. I'll get it close.
Yes, you're only 7.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So, while Greg's helping me with the slides, at the end of today's discussion, I'll be requesting TPC's approval to adopt the 2022-2026 states safety targets. This month was recommended by the TPCC.
First letter's red. You locked up anywhere?
Yes, it is.
All right. Gotcha.
Let's try sharing again. Give it a shot out. There was hot.
Thank you. Can you go to the next slide? Oh,
Yeah.
Battery broke.
I'm very powerful.
Try this. Got some legs to that.
Well, Greg's doing that, I'll chime in, I don't steal any thunder, but remember, this is that we have this conversation about every year, and MPOs have to choose whether to support the state's targets. That's one option we have. In this case, both states, or set our own regional targets. GIPTA was smart enough to, or dumb enough, I don't know which, to set our own regional targets for a long time. And last year was the first time we chose that other option. And so that is, Aaron Monsalve just mentioned it, that's what the TTCC recommended, that's what staff recommended, TTCC, I'll be clear about that. And so that's what we'll probably, they'll sum up here at the end of this thing. So here we go. Now we're back in business.
Thanks for the wait. So the FHWA performance management framework consists of 5 national performance areas that are shown PM1 to 5. And today we'll be focused on PM1, which is the safety. So the safety tracks the fatalities and serious injuries across the region. And as Andy mentioned, under the federal requirement, MPO must either establish your own safety target or support your safety target. And today we recommend it to support the state safety target. But before we do that, let me just run you through the current trends in safety. So I'm talking about number of fatalities, as you can see on the screen. We are obviously seeing a decline, and it has been a steady decline since 2023, when it peaked about 178. And this decline is about 31% reduction in fatalities from 2023. Also, fatality rates declining. Number of serious injuries, interestingly, also going down. It was a little bit stable initially, but it's going down. The serious injury rate also is going down. Now, let's look more into the non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries. This comprises of the bike impaired. Region-wide, we initially saw a steady increase, then a sharp drop in 2025. Yes, that sharp drop in 2025 is about 124, but it's not still as low as 2021, which is about 116. So, yeah, hypothetically, we can talk about improvement, like the Vision Zero program, causing this region improvement, because regionally we are improving, although we just need to focus more on the non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries. But region-wise, we are doing very well. Now let's delve into counties. Now look at fatalities by county. Although Jefferson County takes the major chunk of the data set, but there's a very interesting decline, about 28% drop from 2023, which is very good improvement. Boulder County is currently ongoing through like a moderate fluctuation phase, spiked and it's dropping. But yeah, overall, like for the last 2-3 years, it has been improving. Oldham County is generally improving. Clark County initially had that spike in 2022, stable, now it's dropped. Hopefully keep going. And looking for Floyd County. Floyd County is generally low, generally in that 5, 6, 7 range. But in 2022 spiked, but has been improving since then. Now let's go into serious injuries. Same, we are seeing a decline in Jefferson County serious injury. And although there was a little jump in 2024, but very great improvement in 2025. Boulder County still fluctuating same as the fatalities. Oldham County generally was improving, but we just have this little spike in 2025. Clark County has remained stable, a little jump also in 2025. Floyd County has remained stable. Now, looking at the non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries, you can see that interesting spike in 2024 and drop in 2025 in Jefferson County. So that is awesome. Look at Boulder County also, initial spike has come down back to its stable state. Oldham County, it's safe to say most, aside Jefferson County, all the counties are they're relatively low compared to Jefferson County, but we can see, a little bit of improvement down, especially like Boulder County coming down. So, as I mentioned previously at the earlier of before this presentation, that we have to either set a target or support the state targets. And as Andy said, we will be supporting the state's targets. And this is what we have for the state's target for 2022 to 2026.
These are their targets that they established roughly 6 months ago. We have 6 months to react to their targets setting. So these were set last summer. And that's the end of my presentation. So my action requested would be to approve the adoption of the state standards. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the report for the performance management plan? Signify by, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
And a second by Nicole. All in favor, aye? Like sign.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very good. Darren, the Kentucky Highway Plan?
I'm gonna hand out some handouts, if you don't mind. Thank you. Sorry. Do we set regional safety targets?
So that's kind of what we were just talking about, that we did until this time last year.
And now we're just doing this.
Right, because remember, when we did, inevitably the conversation was, how are we setting a target for 2022 through 2026 when all the years are in the past except for one of them? And so that's the frustrating part, that it's prescriptive on which year, you got it.
Take one and pass it.
And so, so as opposed to the aspirational target setting of a Vision Zero principle, right? Because, hey, we need to get towards zero, and so their federal highways, that is PM1 requirements, say that the target for your target, not your baseline, but your target at this time has to be 2022 through 2026. 4 years are already in the history books of those 5 years. And so the establishment of a target for those 5 years is not all that meaningful, frankly, because we only have 1 year, or frankly, just 11 and a half months or whatever it is, or 10 and a half months before the finish line of that target. The states, they set their targets in the summer, and so at least they predict 2 years, but that doesn't help us necessarily in any way, because we always like to add the year that just ended. So in this case, Aaron Maselli's added the 2025 data to the mix, and that was at least staff perspective, that all those graphs that he was showing, I think, are a lot more interesting, right? Those are telling a good story. The target setting, at least the way it's prescribed, doesn't tell that great of a story perhaps, but keep in mind, we have goals and objectives on safety that are in our long range plan that are aspirational, that are looking to the year 2050, and does have the Vision Zero or the SS4A goals, however you want to say it, in mind.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the 2026 Kentucky Recommended Highway Plan and what has changed since the 2024 enacted highway plan. KIPTA staff have reviewed the 2026 Kentucky Recommended Highway Plan and wanted to provide the committee with a summary of our findings. On this slide, there are 2 QR codes. The first one will take you to the recommended highway plan. The second one is for everyone that is joining virtually because it contains multiple spreadsheets that we have here in physical handouts for everyone in the room. 2 of those spreadsheets that are titled 2026 Funding Comparison by KYTC Districts and 2026 Highway Plan Funding Comparison by MPO and AD contain data from the 2024 enacted highway plan for the districts that are outside of the KIPTA region. While everyone is pulling up the documents, I'm going to give you an overview of the highway plan. On January 7th, KYTC released the 2026 recommended highway plan, which is how major highway improvement projects scheduled for the next 6 years are submitted to and enacted by the 2026 General Assembly. The 2026 Kentucky Recommended Highway Plan outlines scheduled highway project activities for the remainder of fiscal year 2026 and for the fiscal year 2027 through fiscal year 2032 6-year planning period. KYTC uses highway system performance data to address bridge and pavement needs through scenario planning. KYTC also employs the SHIFT Strategic Highway Investment Formula for Tomorrow mechanism for ranking proposed highway projects across the state. The SHIFT prioritization tool uses technical data analyses to produce scores for projects being considered for the highway plan. This graph shows the breakdown of federal and state highway funding levels available for obligation from 2027 through 2032. The darker blue represents the federal funds. The yellow is the state priority projects, SPP. Gray is the state match, and orange is the local match. The other colors represent funding for different projects, including the I-69 Ohio River Crossing Project and the Brent Spence Bridge Project. It is important to recognize that this recommended highway plan is carrying forward many state-funded projects that were identified in past enacted highway plans, but funding has not been available to advance them. These projects are advanced by the SPP Fund Code, a funding category with significant competition for very limited funds. The top table shows what SPP funds should be available from fiscal year 2027 through fiscal year 2032. The bottom table shows what SPP funds were included in the 2024 recommended highway plan, the amount from the 2024 enacted highway plan, and the amount of SPP dollars that KYTC forecast to be available for 2024 through 2026. Here is a breakdown of Bullitt County projects included in the 2026 recommended highway plan. The total is over 433 million. The 2024 enacted highway plan total was 443 million, and the cost difference from the new plan is a $9 million decrease. You can see there are 21 projects in the new plan, 1 new project, and 5 that have been removed or completed since the 2024 enacted highway plan. It appears there may have been a couple of duplicate projects in the 2024 enacted highway plan for Bullitt County that have been removed, which could account for the budget decrease. Here is a breakdown of Oldham County projects included in the 2026 recommended highway plan. The total amount is over 357 million. The 2024 enacted highway plan total was over 353 million. And the cost difference of the new plan is a $3.3 million decrease. You can see there are 15 projects in the plan, 0 new projects, and 5 that have been removed or completed since the 2024 enacted highway plan. Here's a breakdown of Jefferson County projects included in the 2026 recommended highway plan. The total amount is over 2 billion. The 2024 highway plan was over 2 billion, and the cost difference of the new plan is a $15 million increase. You can see there are 105 projects total, 4 new projects, and 3 have been removed or completed since the 2024 enacted highway plan. The top project type includes 40 bridge projects. Here's a graphic that shows KYTC's process and timeline for the highway plan. We are currently in the middle part of the process, that circle. The General Assembly is expected to finalize funding for the first 2 years of the plan by April 15th, 2026. Once the enacted highway plan has been published in June of 2026, KIPTA staff will provide you all with a summary of our review, and we will update the regional comparison spreadsheets. Between now and then, we're here for your questions, and I'm going to leave it open for questions or comments now. All right.
I'll offer a candid comment.
Go ahead.
All those sheets that Darian passed out. One of the conclusions one could draw from it, not the only one, but one of them. We getting our fair share around here, right? And there's about there's 20 conclusions to be made. About 19 of them we say no, probably not. Probably not. And so that's something that I hope get staff appreciating the choir. I believe in this room. I think that's pretty fair to say in terms on this front. But just to hopefully this is informative, so you can talk to your legislators, and they're interested in bringing back projects to their districts. Of course they are. So it's not meant to point fingers or anything like that. It's just meant to be illustrative and to make sure that everybody knows what's what we've gotten around here, or what we're programmed to get. And then also, she talked a little bit about the SPP funds and the differences there. That's a giant difference in terms of the over programming that's in there, and that's something. But if there's 11 billion worth of it in the highway plan, and there's only, I think Darian's presentation said there's only 625 million available. 11 billion versus 625, I think is what the number is. That's a big discrepancy. And that's going to leave quite a few places, cities, counties, and areas in Kentucky, at least slightly disappointed over the 6 years. So No, that's not, there's not much difference between 24, 2026. That's another conclusion one could draw, right there, that the changes weren't many. That most of them are the projects that were in there before, so it didn't, nothing's changed so much so far. Be interesting to see what other projects might get added during the session, if there are any, there typically are.
Yep.
In other words, there's typically more added than taken away. I think that's probably true. I think that's very, very likely to be true, so we'll see. We've got a couple months before it happens, so like Aaron said, we'll come back to you guys and kind of show where the numbers shake out with the enacted one.
All right. Thank you. That was, I'm glad you made those comments. I can. So, I can. Personally, from where I sit in the years being involved with KIPTA, we don't get our fair share, especially with Golden Bullet in Jefferson County. Population wise, economically, when you can look at the numbers in the data that's provided on the sheets, and Andy, you did a great job of summarizing it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for Darian for putting it together.
Yeah, thank you, Darren. Any other comments, questions? Okay. Chris, the next one, Kentucky, Indiana, 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. FY 2025 to 28 Transportation Improvement Program Amendment Schedule. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Okay, so this is just a one slide presentation. I have the timeline there, also in the memo that I sent in the packet. So before I get into that, quick update for anyone who maybe didn't see the email, I should have emailed this whole group. We have Amendment 2 and Amendment 3, those are finally finished and sent off for the STIP updates as of yesterday. And special thanks to Tanya Higdon for helping facilitate that process for our federal approval there. So now we're gonna get ready for the next amendment. It will be Amendment 4 to the TIP and Amendment 13 to the MTP. Same list, two names. You all know the drill. So as a reminder, project updates can be submitted using the full or expedited applications found on our transportation planning portal at any time. If anyone ever needs help finding that, it's just on me. And there's no need to wait until that deadline. You can submit at any time, or whoever at your agency submits the applications. So I want to say that it's often easier for KIPTA staff to determine the best method to update the TIP and MTP once we have the project details. At any point when we're looking at an application, if we can make that through an administrative modification, if that seems like the best move, then we'll probably go that route. But if you do want to ensure inclusion in the next amendment, please submit your applications before March 20th. Next month to get it in there. And also I want to say the timeline's designed to accommodate a full amendment, and we don't intend on dividing the projects this time based on exemption like we did the last time. This schedule anticipates a TPC action request on May 28th, and then there would be a federal review to follow that. And that's all I've got on that topic.
That's all?
That's all.
Okay, Chris. Thank you. Okay. That's right, you are. Administrative modifications to the FY 2025-2028 Transportation Improvement Plan, TIP, and connecting Kentucky, Indiana 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Thank you.
Right. So mentioned administrative modifications. Here is our latest one. This one has already been finalized, and I did notify the group back on February 11th, but this is the first opportunity we've had to be able to present it. So that is what I shall do. So 6 updates in this one. It's administrative modification number 9, MTP 31. So as a reminder, approval is not required. This is a info only when we do the administrative modifications. Amendment 9, again, is listed in the packet if you want to follow along today. And these updates were submitted for the STIP update also back on February 11th. Administrative modifications as a reminder are for minor updates and, they're useful to expedite project updates that are not required to go through the amendment process. I have a list of the qualifying criteria. Again, at any point, if you ever have a question about your project, why can't this be gone through an administrative modification? But just feel free to ask and we can explore that and see what we can do when possible. Once applications are submitted, KIPTA staff vets through the requests and we use the administrative modifications whenever possible, based on our policies. If an amendment's required, we typically will reach out and let you know just to make sure you're aware of the timeline that you can expect for the update. Oh no, it might be stuff.
Oh,
Raise again.
do it again. Hello, Mayor.
Yeah,
Well, that's new, I never got this problem, so there we go. Sure.
All right, we're back.
Right, there we go.
okay. All right, so just gonna, we go through these 6 projects. So from NDOT, this is the only Indiana project we have in this one. It's a statewide signing project, or yeah, it's a new signing project and it is statewide. What we have here is projects that are going to be just within the Seymour district. And so that's just this portion, the funding amount shown. And that will include forest projects in Clark and Floyd counties. And we have 3 KYTC projects. They are all taking updates to the total estimated project cost and adding a design phase. And I think one of the 3 also is a utilities phase added. These are English Station Road, Kentucky 864 and US 42.
Yep.
And last but not least, we have 2 TARP projects. Really, it's 1 park project replacing a old park project. KIPTA ID 2478. It was called Park Place Mall Transit Node. That project is going to be replaced with Dixie Highway bus stop improvements. The older project had previously flexed unused TAP U funds that were apportioned in fiscal year 18. These funds were not used, as I said, they're being reprogrammed as TAP MPO funds in fiscal year 26. Just so that TARC has the ability to access that funding. And that's all I have on that admin mod. If anyone has any questions, let me know.
So I guess I just have one question or comment. So if these projects aren't done this year, then there'll be an adjustment again next year if they apply for inflation, or is that way that this?
Well, we
Just a
had
question,
some
huh?
conversations about
Right.
that. If Jeffrey wants to chime in at all, I'm open to that, but as I understand it, the funds were already set aside for TARP, but
Right.
then a change happened with the owner of the Park Place Plaza, and so the funds were not used, but they apparently are still usable. We just have to get them in the tip because this project that is being replaced is like 2 tips ago. And so we need to have an active project to represent the idea of the initial, or the spirit of the initial project.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Sure.
Andy, if I might just add a note.
Good.
This, Chris is absolutely correct, and I would like to thank Chris for her help in changing the project, eliminating the old project, creating a new one. When I returned to service and discovered that we had not yet programmed those funds, which, by the way, once they are transferred to the FTA, they essentially become Section 5307 funds and they don't lapse. But once I found that they had not yet been obligated in a TRAMS award or application, we discussed in the planning team how best they could be used, and we intend to use them this year to make improvements along Dixie Highway associated with the new TARP network. So there's a couple of new stops and hopefully some refurbished stops that will be improved and brought up to ADA accessibility standards as a result of this funding.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Any other comments? Hearing none. Andy?
Yeah, so I'm gonna do an MPO director's report, but we will have some other business in a moment that Chris will be right back up. It's something that's kind of late breaking news that she'll have a little bit of other business, just so everybody doesn't just get up and run when I'm done here. A few reminders. Well, first, let me recognize the folks that joined us after we did the roll call. Mike King from Louisville Metro. Mike, thank you for being here. Same for Andy Crouch, city engineer over there at Jeffersonville. Haley Thomas and Julie Feltner from MDOT, and Mayor Tonini from St. Matthews. Thank you all for being here today. One of the things that we have going on is for all these TIP amendments and MPO policies, and you hear us talk every now and then about our project management guidebook. That's the rules that we have to follow around here, the rules that the TPC has created for you all to follow. Tomorrow we have a working group meeting in this room. Brady, we have a little extra time. You care to kind of just give a 30-second summary of what's going to happen tomorrow?
Sure.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
So there's gonna be 3 planned project management guidebook meetings. The first one tomorrow is 10 o'clock in here for a couple hours. The first meeting is actually, sounds counterintuitive, to discuss project development that doesn't have to do with the project management guidebook. So the guidebook sets the KIPTA rules, but there's lots of other things other than the rules set at KIPTA that have to do with developing projects, pushing projects forward on time and on budget. And so we're going to be discussing a variety of different topics that will set the stage for meetings 2 and 3, which will be a more in-depth look at the actual guidebook rules that need to be talked about. And so it's very important standard for how we program our MPO dedicated funds into the future. So we are looking forward for as much participation as we can get.
So all the agencies represented here are also on our TTCC. So I hope that those of you that are on TTCC and as individuals or certainly those agencies, please consider attending tomorrow. It will or all 3 meetings, I guess, over the course of the next several months. These are the foundation for some really important stuff, namely our calls for projects and the way we prioritize projects around here. So it is an important set of meetings that Brady's going to be coordinating for us here over the next couple of months.
One more note on that is we will be discussing aspects of project development and guidebook rules in the future that involve both Kentucky and Indiana. They both have different sets of rules, a little bit of a different game that we play by here at KIPTA, but we will be discussing both states, although the majority of the topics that are flexible enough for us to make changes on are in Kentucky. So while most of the discussion will center in Kentucky, some of the discussion will be by state policies and as well as an open opportunity for improvements for Indiana if there are any Indiana LPAs or NDOT representatives that have ideas to improve the process. That will be part of the discussion as well.
Thank you, Brady. Moving on the MPO director's report. A reminder that our federal certification review is coming up. I think I reminded everybody this last month. Those dates have been firmed up for May 6th and 7th. May 6th and 7th is our once every 4 years federal certification review. We firmed those up with Tanya Higdon. Tanya will be leading that for federal highways, and so we got the official notice just a few days ago, Friday or Monday, I believe, on that. Want to shout out St. Matthews for helping us out. We're going to host our public hearing on the evening of May 6th. So thank you, Mayor and Bernie, for hosting us that night. Thank you in advance. Moving on, our annual Unified Planning Work Program, UPWP, MPOs are required to develop one of those every year or every other year. Some MPOs do biannual, most MPOs do every year. We do it every year. I owe that to KYTC by tomorrow. and thankfully it's about ready to roll. So I'll have that over to KYTC tomorrow. NDOT's deadline, I think, is early March, so they'll get it tomorrow too. And so I plan to bring that to you all in terms of kind of showing what's new and what's interesting about our work program next month. If we need to make any changes here locally, we've got basically a 60-day period between the draft submittal at the end of February till the finalization of it by the end of April. So we can talk more about that next month. And then not next month, but the month after that, just a reminder that we won't be having very likely, unless we really need to have one, we're going to skip April as skip the TPC and skip the Board of Directors month. So next month we'll be here as usual on March 26th. And then we'll see each other again at the TPC table in May. And again, that concludes the MPO director's report, but Chris does have some other business and be happy to listen. If anybody has any questions about what I just mentioned or any of the other stuff we talked about today, of course, let us know.
Okay. Chris, basics.
Okay. So I don't have a presentation, this came to our attention, myself and Nick over in the other room went to a webinar. The same day that the meeting packet went in, otherwise we might have put something in there. So I'm gonna tell you all, and some of you may have heard of it, about the Basics Act, HR 7437. So this is the Bridges and Safety Infrastructure for Community Success Act, is called. And the status right now is that it's been referred to the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. So what this is, it's a marker bill, and that's a new term for me. A marker bill is not a standalone bill. They are to signify collective interest and build momentum for inclusion in larger bills, such as the upcoming Surface Transportation Reauthorization Bill. So that's that. The Basics Act is supported by a group with the acronym LOT, that is the Local Officials in Transportation Coalition. This group includes AMPO and NATO, which KIPTA is a part of both of these organizations. Okay, so what is it? In general, and I'm gonna do my best to summarize this. Some of these details are still kind of coming out and unfolding. So it is designed to make, and this is per the LOT group, it's designed to make targeted updates to existing federal transportation programs to strengthen safety, bridges, improve accountability, and speed the delivery of local and regional projects. Okay, so I've got a couple of take-home points to share. The focus is on formula funding. That is a consistent theme throughout this Basics Act, and it would increase PL funding and eliminate the match requirement for MPOs and MPOs would be direct recipients of PL funding. So that's probably pretty good news for us. It updates the bridge formula program. And this one I have a few questions about, but what I know is what I can tell you all. The bridge funds would be divided among the states based on poor bridge condition. Where do we stand compared to other states? That I'm not exactly sure. But beyond that, it would require the states to sub-allocate 25% based on population formula similar to the one used in the STVG program. And it does not allow that 25% to be transferred. Also, there would be changes to the HSIP program. It would allow projects which meet the SS4A standard to be eligible for HSIP. It would also require the 25% sub-allocation based on population formula, similar to STVG program, and does not allow the transfer. And of the remaining 75%, the states must run a competitive grant program before having the ability to transfer any of those HSIP funds. So that's the take-home points. If anyone is interested, I can email them or potentially email the group. The links, there's a story map that I think Greg maybe had it up that has all the links to the other additional information. Also, we're gonna be following this, so this as well as the upcoming surface transportation reauthorization bill, so we can continue to keep you all posted as details unfold.
This is some pretty interesting stuff, and it's from a local, whether it's city or county or even regional government level. All these things they're talking about are fantastic, like too good to be true, fantastic, right? You know, the idea that for lots of reasons, the state bridges and the state-owned roads are in slightly better shape than our local-owned roads and bridges. And there's probably lots of reasons for that, but as it says right here, projects are ready, but funding gets stuck. Sometimes it gets stuck along that chain. And so the idea that PL funding, remember PL funding is a metropolitan planning funding that comes and funds this operation right here. Somebody wants to increase that, that's perfectly fine with us, I promise you that. Limiting some of the match requirements on that, even better. And so we'll see where this goes. We'll see where this goes. It does have a little bit of support. Hopefully it moves the ball down the field a little bit, at least for the highway, the federal authorization that's coming, that has to come by this fall. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, this is, I caught off press information. If somebody has any questions or wants to ask about it, we will be happy to research it for you or see what it might mean to you guys.
Last thing, based off of a couple of emails today, it sounds like it's not necessarily solidified. Apparently AASHTO made some comments and then the LOT group responded back. And so it seems like there's still talks happening on.
So these, you can't see their logos, but I'm pointing to the very top left of the screen, but amongst those agencies that are up there, those are a lot of national organizations that including AMPO and NATO that Chris was mentioning, that GIPTA are part of both of those. It's League of Cities, League of Counties, League of Council of Mayors, whatever it's called. Maybe one other, I might be missing one. But what's not on there is not AASHTO, as in where's that money getting stuck? And we're just getting kind of sticky. It's kind of getting sticky sometimes at the state DOTs. No offense, Tom or Cedro or Tony or Haley or Julie. But sometimes that's happening. So, you know, are we butting heads? I don't know. Are these groups butting heads? I don't know. But with AASHTO, it's an interesting proposal.
Consulting at a minimum, but
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
more to come.
More to come, indeed.
Good deal. Thank you, Chris. Andy, any other business comments?
Can I just ask real quick, Andy, you said can you share that link? Because I Googled it and a lot of different websites come out. So I'm not sure which one's the most accurate. That'd be great.
We will, yeah, that what I was kind of scrolling up and down there, that was they made a looked like a story map with no maps, but nonetheless, it's story map. Story map makes it makes it digestible, doesn't it? You can say, hey, I want to see why this matters. So I click on why this matters. Yes, we'll make sure that goes out to the TPC. Good idea, Jim. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.